Hello, 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 hello. It's Happy Monday. Happy Monday to all of you. And this is Usha Chudasama. So I'm author, speaker, and mental health expert. And I support parents to empower their children so that they lead a happier social, mental, and emotional life. And you know what? I'm just going to start because I think I really like it to, I just like the videos to just start. It's been a long time since I've come online. You know what? Today is, well, some people would say it's the January blues, you know, Blue Monday. They call it Blue Monday because a lot of the times today's believed to be the most depressing day of the year. You know, it's almost 2 weeks after Christmas and it's 2 weeks to payday, and you know what, it's actually pulling on people's belts. You know, people have to like wait until they get paid, and there's so many bills, and you know, and generally people feel unhappy today. But you know what, today I don't feel unhappy at all. I feel really as if I've got my mojo back, because over Christmas I was feeling so ill. I couldn't believe it. I planned all of these things to start, you know, as soon as January hit. I couldn't do any of it, and I had to listen to my body. Hi, Lena, and hi, Claire. Thank you for joining. I'm just actually talking about, you know, not being able to start really at oh, Lena's saying that at her workplace they've got cupcakes to overcome Blue Monday. You see, now this is a definite thing. People think that, well, some people actually, you know, get affected by the seasonal affective disorder, you know, SAD. And this is a real thing. People do get affected by it. I didn't think that I would, but I've been ill since before Christmas. And I've only just today got my mojo back. So actually, I do not feel as if it's Blue Monday. I feel it's like Happy Monday. And I'm so really happy. Hi there, Claire. It's really lovely to have you on here. Thank you for joining. And so today I just want to talk a little bit about, you know, what my plans are for January and this year, actually, to 2018. Obviously, people know that I've written the book, Your Happy Child. It's made me happy. And we had the book launch in November. And what we're hoping to do this year is, oh no, could you believe that? The phone is ringing. Let me just turn it down. This is one thing Janine actually says, turn your phone off and make sure you don't get disturbed. And that was not expected. I don't know who that is. Anyway, let's carry on. So the plans for this year. The plans are that I would like to actually talk to a lot of parents. And the reason is that I want to help you to create, by creating some, you know, products, some workshops, some things around helping you to succeed. So my question today is, what are your 3 top parenting challenges? Now, you don't actually have to be a parent to answer that question, because you might know someone who's a parent. Hiya, Jacqueline. How are you? Thank you for joining. I'm just talking about my plans for the new year. And one of the things I want to do is to start helping parents to help their children to feel so much more happier socially, emotionally, and mentally. And I want to support and empower parents so that they can do that. And so what I'm looking for is for parents to actually talk about what are their 3 top challenges. Now, as you know, well, you may not know, but I work with children that are under the age of 11 in school. So I'm a school counsellor and I work with them under 11s. I also work with the parents, and I have a clinic here in my home, and I see adults too. So I work with a range of people. But you know what? My passion and my greatest love is working with kids. The reason being is that actually, you know, when you're working with children, they have so much. They have so much love. They've got so much to give. And the reason why they come and see me is because, you know, they've got so much, they've got baggage basically from a young age, and really they're quite vulnerable on the inside, and helping them from a young age is so much more beneficial to the whole of society actually, because trying to help them with their issues later on in life is more costly and more complex. So it's really lovely helping them when they're young. Thank you, Lena. Thank you for the hearts, and thank you for the likes. If you like some of this, then please feel free to share. So what I'd like to ask you is, what are your top 3 parenting challenges? Now, whether you're on live or whether you come back on the replay, either way, please just put in the comments section what your 3 parenting challenges are. Now, just before Christmas, I was phoning different people, phoning different parents and asking them this particular question. And you know, the top 3 things that came up were, number 1, how can I manage my time? Oh, okay, thanks. Okay, Claire said, how can my top 3, hang on a second, the things. Okay, so parenting challenges, not being too soft. Oh, okay. Hello, Millie. Thank you for joining. It's so nice to have you on. And I'm just asking, what are your top 3 challenges? I know your kids are a little bit older, but can you remember what your challenges were when your kids were young? Hi, Amit. Thank you for joining. I'm just asking the questions. What are your top 3 parenting challenges? But also, you know, if you what I'd also like is to actually be able to phone you as well. So inbox me later and we can arrange that. So the top 3 challenges, I mean, Claire has said that her challenge is not being too soft. And, you know, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, Claire, but Claire's got a son who is under 5. Now, under 5s need a different kind of parenting, in my opinion, because they're still, I mean, their brains are still developing, and they need that love. They need that, they need the boundary, their boundaries at all. Thank you for that, Claire. So they're just learning, they're just understanding who they are and working out where they finish and where somebody else begins, if that makes sense. Probably not. So what I'm trying to say is that they are just still learning about their environment. They're just still learning about who they are as a person, as separate from, say, their mum or their dad. So being soft, it's not okay. I don't know if that's, so being soft is probably, I'm not sure. Maybe you might want to explain what you mean by being too soft. Hi, Rena. Thank you so much for joining. It's so nice to have so many people online today. I was just saying that, you know, today is Blue Monday. It's kind of, for a lot of people, it's kind of a depressing day. And Lena said that, you know, at work, they've given out cupcakes for people to overcome this Blue Monday thing. So it's a real thing. But, you know, parents can go through this stage of the highs and the lows, can't they? And and it's the challenges that they have, which is what we're talking about. So letting him getting away with too much because I love him so much. Oh, okay, right. So thank you for that, Claire. So Claire's saying, well, you know, one of her challenges is not being too soft. But, you know, under the age of 5, they still are working out what your rules are. They don't always know. So the challenging bit is, are you letting him get away with too much, or is it that maybe you know, it's about having the rules and the consistency with the rules. Hello, Khaki. Thank you for joining. We're just talking about what your parenting challenges are. So Yeah, of course, we all love our children very much, but you know, our role as parents is to help them to be independent. So, um, the younger they are, the more you're going to have to be more caring, giving, and so on. And as they get older, you know, we put in the boundaries and we help them to stick to those boundaries. But the important thing is that we have to stick to those boundaries too, because our children will not listen to what you say. They will do what you do, if that makes sense. Because actually that brings us on to challenge number 2. So when I was phoning up different people, they said that one of their challenges was that their children don't listen to them. Do you find that? Do you find that your children, and I remember I'm working with under 11s, and because this kind of thing happens with older children too, but with the younger children, do you get that that challenge where your children don't listen to you? You know, it might be at home, it might be out in a restaurant, or when you're out shopping, and different and also with different people around you. And you feel like the children are trying to get at you, and they're trying to like embarrass you on purpose. They're not, believe me, they're not. It's just that they're trying to find a way of getting attention. So by ignoring you, they will get attention because you'll start to get annoyed. But actually, are you also doing the same? Hi Deepa, it's so nice to see you. Oh, lovely. Thank you for joining in. We've got a lot of people on today. It's really nice. Thank you for coming in. And you know, we're looking at, and you don't have to be a parent to actually answer this question, because as you were growing up, what kind of challenges were you facing, you know, in terms of your parent with you? So the first challenge was, you know, Claire was saying that, you know, how do I stop myself letting my child get away with too much because I love him so much? And actually, once your child does get to know that you love him too much and you're giving him attention for getting away with too much, he will cotton on to that. So it's about it's about having those rules and being tighter with the rules, and then being consistent in a loving way. Remember, kids don't necessarily, they're not born knowing these things. They have to learn these things, and they need to learn it from a loving adult who has the best interests at heart. So thank you so much for all of your likes and loves. And somebody's done an anger emoji. I'm not sure who that was, but you can let me know what you're angry about, or is that something that is a challenge, you know, when your children are angry? I don't know. So maybe explain that. So the second one was your children not listening to you. And I'm just wondering, you know, when your children... so the thing with listening is that you've got to ask yourself as the parent, how much are you really listening to your children? Because the thing is, what children do is they model our behavior. So if you find that your child isn't listening to you, ask yourself the question, how much really and honestly, how much are you there for your child? 100%. 100%. Because a lot of the times what happens is that children are like talking to you. Hang on, I've lost my train of thought because I just saw a little comment come up, which I'll read in a minute. So what happens is that children are modeling you. So if they're saying something, what happens a lot of the time, there you go. What happens a lot of the time is that the parent is actually thinking about maybe cooking dinner or putting the clothes out, or they've got shopping to do, or they've got other things on their mind. So they're half listening to their child, and they're finishing off their children's sentences, which is so irritating for a child. Because I get that from they tell me they feel like they're not listened to, or they feel misunderstood, or they feel like because they're misunderstood, then they start to feel lonely. And when they feel lonely, that's when they start to cut off, and that's when they start to not they zone out when people are talking. So maybe that is something to consider. Now, something Lena has just put on here is some families experience sibling rivalry, and only children can often have too much attention from their parents. How do you balance your attention between your children? This could be a potential issue for parents. Oh, that is a big one there, Lena. So she's talking about two different things there. One is the sibling rivalry when there's quite a few children, or the balancing between having an only child. I mean, some of you know that I have one child. Lena is my child, and she's the only child. So in terms of balancing the attention, what I used to do is take her a lot to meet her cousins. So she had her cousins of the same age, and they did grow up together. So there was a lot of rivalry, of course, when they all want the same toy, or they all want the same, ride on the park, swings or whatever. So there's always some kind of sibling rivalry. So let me answer that in one at a time. So in terms of it being a single child, an only child, the way that I used to balance is by doing that. And also, when Lena was younger, I used to take her in, because I was teaching when she was younger. So I used to take her into the school that I worked at. And of course, now there's 30 children, and they all loved her. So when it was playtime, she had so many friends. Do you remember that, Lena? There was a girl called Anastasia, and what was her name? Caroline. There was these two girls that absolutely adored her. They were all the same age. And so, I mean, Lena had, so in terms of balancing that, she did have her own friendship groups, and even today she has her friendship groups where she then goes out and you remember, so she used to go out. So in terms of sibling rivalry, so that now then becomes a different perspective. So from a parent perspective, I guess what parents do need to remember is that each child is coming in with their own unique personalities. So treating them all the same is not treating them all the same was how everyone was parented, I guess, and probably still are now. But what we're learning is that children come in with their own sets of personalities, their own traits, and their own needs. In one family, you might have somebody who's always wanting attention, and then there's another child who is actually looking to take themselves away from all that noise and chaos. So that child, the quiet child, and the one that wants attention, has to be treated in separately. So then Lena's question is, how do you as a parent manage that? And I would say, and this is what I do say with some of the parents that I work with, is that if you've got 3 different children or 2 children or however many, just make a decision that you're going to spend 15 minutes one-to-one time with each of those children, and make a timetable so each child knows that they're going to get their 15 minutes one-to-one attention, because that's what kids want. Otherwise, you will find that if they don't get that individual time with you, then there will be arguments in amongst themselves, and there'll be jealousy, and then the problem becomes a lot bigger, because one thing leads to another, and to another. So it becomes quite complex. It becomes complex, and that's why I was saying, so dealing with it at a child level is easier than when when they're adults, because that becomes layered with so much complexity that it's really hard to then deal with it. It's not impossible, but it just becomes you have to work with it a lot longer. So thank you so much for all of those people who have commented today and shared you've clicked on the emojis and everything, and given me some comments about what are your top parenting challenges, because what I'm planning to do over the next month or so is to start collating all of the questions, all of the problems that people are having, and then coming up with a question and answer video, and hopefully get people online as well. If you're interested in that, do drop me a line, because I would love to do a Facebook Live interview with you, so that we can actually thrash out some of these challenges and online, so that it might help other people. The thing is, when you're doing this on your own, it's really hard to come up with exact examples and things. But when you're, for me anyway, when I'm actually having a banter with somebody, I start to then remember things that I've done with other children or other parents, and then it becomes so much more rounded, So I'm going to just stop there then, because I think we can actually talk about this at another time, because we'll have a whole month to talk about it. I also want to talk about aspects of the book and bring that into the conversations to enrich the conversations as well. So that is the plan for January. And like I say, today is supposed to be Blue Monday, but for me personally, it's actually, I've been given a new lease of life. I feel as if I've got my mojo back today, and I'm really happy because I've got my health back. So thank you today for joining and coming on live. And if you're watching this on the replay, remember, what I'm looking for is, what are your top 3 challenges? Write them down in the comments, and I will answer you, and I will come back to you. And if you would like to do a live with me like this, and just talk about some of the things that, you've experienced or you've overcome, then let's do that. Let's make it happen. Let's help a load of parents, So this is, so I'm Usha Chudasama, and I'm an author, speaker, and mental health expert. I support parents to empower their children so that they lead a happier social, mental, and emotional life. And I'm going to say bye-bye for now, but thank you so much for joining. Bye for now.